Good morning. Welcome to today's change of command ceremony in which Captain Tom Dicey will be relieved by Captain Mike McCartney. We hope you enjoy the ceremony. Guests should remain seated until requested to stand. Military guests should remain covered for the duration. Before we begin the ceremony, I'd like to please ask that everyone please turn off or silence your cell phones at this time. Today you will witness a time-honored tradition that is rich in naval heritage. This ceremony is designed to be formal and to reinforce the respect for authority, which is vital to all military commands. Change of command is a process that transfers absolute authority, responsibility, and accountability from one commander to another. In just a moment, we will render honors to the official party. Will the guests please rise and remain standing for the arrival of the official party, parading of the colors, playing of the national anthems, and the invocation. Ship's company, attention! Captain, United States Navy, arriving. Antietam, arriving. Battle Force, 7th Fleet, arriving. Side voice, post. Parade the colors. Ladies and gentlemen, ME3 Christine Sia will now sing the national anthem of Japan. Ladies and gentlemen, Lieutenant Junior Grade Stephanie Conte will now sing the United States National Anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we rode were so gallant
Naval Guard. Retire the colors. Ready, 2. Lieutenant Anderson, Antietam chaplain, will now offer the invocation.
Dismissed.
An event of great historical significance, the USS Antietam change of command. We thank you for the wisdom inherent in this ceremony, creating within us, as it does, a sense of continuity and strength amidst change. We ask that you use this eyes, inspire, empower, and unify us, and to dedicate ourselves anew to the proliferation of freedom, stability, and security in a region so crucial to the world's economy. As we bid farewell to Captain Dicey and welcome Captain McCartney, we ask that you instill in us a sense of trust, respect, and excellence in everything we do, and grant us the ability to serve our great nation in good courage, rejoicing in the power bestowed upon us. In your most holy name we pray. Amen.
Will the guests please be seated? Antietam, parade, rest. Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Tom Dicey, Commanding Officer, USS Antietam.
It is my distinct pleasure to introduce our guest speaker for today's ceremony. Rear Admiral Mark Montgomery, Commander, Battle Force 7th Fleet, Task Force 70, and Carrier Strike Group 5, was commissioned through the Naval ROTC program at the University of Pennsylvania in 1985, followed immediately by earning his master's degree from Oxford University. He is a nuclear engineer qualified surface warfare officer. He has served in 7 operational commands at sea, including command of USS McCampbell and Destroyer Squadron 15. He also served as the reactor officer on USS Nimitz, the same job Captain McCartney just completed. So as a good friend of mine and mentor likes to say, the Navy is truly a small town spread out all over the world. His shore tours include the National Security Council at the White House, CNO staff, and European Command. Ladies and gentlemen, Rear Admiral Mark Montgomery.
Thanks. I asked Tom to keep it brief so I could use all that time for my speech. Thanks. First, I think a round of applause for our 2 vocalists. Those were fantastic. MU3 and I are on our third change of command this week, so we're really pressing hard. Well, first, Ohio Gozaimasu, and good morning. Welcome, Admiral Kraft. Welcome, my fellow warfare commanders here, the distinguished guests, the close allies, shipmates, and friends of the USS Antietam. I also want to thank especially Captain Dicey's friend here, Jim Farley, his son's godfather, and a good friend of the Navy in the Newport, Rhode Island area. It's an honor to be here today to execute one of my most enjoyable duties, a change of command, which gives me an opportunity to reflect on the exceptional service and accomplishments of one of our great forward deployed commanders, in this case, Captain Tom Dicey. Before I talk specifically about Captain Dicey and the great ship Antietam that he leads, I want to provide some context about the forward presence of the U.S. Navy here in the Western Pacific. This year marks the 69th anniversary of Carrier Strike Group 5, Battle Force 7th Fleet. Since 1944, our forces have played a critical role in ensuring the stability, security, and prosperity of the Asia-Pacific region. Antietam is the most recent ship to join that legacy, having arrived here only 11 months ago. But our continuous forward deployed presence here, along with our partners and allies, particularly Japan and Korea, has been reaffirmed with the latest defense strategy of President Obama that at its heart is about strengthening relationships, adjusting our military posture, and our presence here in the Asia-Pacific region. We're bringing new concepts, new capabilities, and new capacities to ensure we can continuously and effectively contribute to the stability and security of the region. Tom Dicey's been at the front line of that strategy, executing it daily. So it's with that backdrop, let me talk about what it means to be commander of in command of USS Antietam. Now, I believe command at sea is the essence of what the U.S. Navy is, and I think major command of either a cruiser, a carrier, or a destroyer squadron or air wing is the pinnacle of command at sea. A major commander has to balance two competing demands: leadership of his unit, in Tom's case, first the USS Cowpens and now the USS Antietam, and service to me as the Strike Group Commander as a warfare commander. In Tom's case, his service was as the 7th Fleet Air Defense Commander, a mission of the highest importance, both to me as the Strike Group Commander, but also to our Fleet and Force Commanders in Hawaii and Seoul. Without question, air defense is a challenging mission for our naval forces today, and Tom's been on the cutting edge of dealing with the new challenges. In fact, the arrival of Antietam to replace Cowpens this year demonstrated the commitment the U.S. Navy has to sending our most advanced and modernized air defense warships to the FDNF. Specifically, Antietam brought us baseline Aegis and the cooperative engagement capability. Both of these are significant improvements which Antietam has brought into execution in the forward deployed naval forces. I know, though, that Tom and probably every other commander here would join me in saying that the success of this ship hinges not on those new systems, but on the exceptional sailors who serve in it. But I would add that more importantly, it falls on the shoulders of the captain to provide the leadership required to keep the FDNF, ships such as Antietam, sharpened to a fine edge. We look to him daily to ensure the readiness of his ship and the readiness of all the air defense forces deployed across the entire 7th Fleet. I've relied on Tom to provide me timely and sound advice on all aspects of his responsibilities. It was by no means an easy job for Captain Dicey, but I can say without question that Tom performed with unfailing strength and wisdom. Changes of command are important events. It's a time of change, there's no doubt, but it's a time to carry on in the Navy tradition of passing the torch. Most importantly, it's probably a chance to reflect on the previous 22 months or 24 months of achievement of the outstanding commander, to recognize how far he's brought his asset under his leadership and dedication and duty. And it's no secret that operations under Captain Dicey's tenure have been challenging, even by the demanding standards of the forward deployed naval forces. But no matter the task at hand, there was no obstacle that could ever inhibit Tom and his ships from achieving assigned tasking. It's worth summarizing a couple of these. I think the most important thing was he conducted the successful hull swap between Cowpens and Antietam. This is among the most challenging events we undertake as surface warriors, as a crew must give up the hull on which it has spent so much sweat and toil and effort to take ownership of someone else's hull. And while the ships look alike generally from the outside, on the inside there were numerous significant differences between Cowpens and Antietam. Differences that made every evolution a challenge, no matter how basic it seemed. It took long hours and arduous work ethic for the crew to regain ownership and to establish technical and tactical proficiency in the use of Antietam's hull. But in the end, the ship overcame the challenges and left on deployment in June with the strike group, a significant success for all concerned. Tom also initiated an effort to enhance our air defense interoperability with our Kaijo-J-type partners. This is a key step in helping prepare our two navies to deal with the growing threats in the Asia-Pacific region and to assure our bilateral capability to provide a combined defense of Japan. Tom's efforts are only the beginning, but they have set the framework for air defense work to follow. And finally, I'd say on deployment. Tom contributed to the successful completion of numerous exercises and operations over 2 deployment cycles. The exercises are in fact too numerous to mention here, so I won't. But I will mention that along with the rest of the strike group, Tom's crew and his embarked helicopters played a significant role in our rapid and successful initial response to the humanitarian crisis and disaster relief efforts in the Philippines. For all our ships, but particularly for Antietam, this is a job well done. Now on that note, I want to address a few words specifically to the Antietam crew. This near simultaneous execution of operations and a hull swap over the last year, with maintenance and training squeezed in on the side, brought a great deal of pressure on you all. Certainly it was a challenging schedule and we worked you harder than we should have. I want to acknowledge and thank you all for your perseverance and your dedication. It's not lost on senior officers such as myself and Admiral Thomas that you all have done more than your fair share and we are in your debt. So thank you all very much. If Tom's like me, I know he'd like to stay here as long as possible. but he's been selected for a new challenge as our defense attaché to Italy and our senior defense official in Rome. And he'll have to go to Washington to learn Italian and prepare for this important and rewarding assignment. I suspect he'll continue to demonstrate his unparalleled knowledge of naval warfighting issues and his political military acumen to help maintain and maybe even build on our vibrant partnership with our Italian allies. This responsibility will challenge Tom in new ways, but I also know he's ready for the challenges that will come. I'd like to take a moment to specifically acknowledge an important group of individuals who, though not in attendance, deserve recognition. Because of the nature of Tom's last-minute assignment to Cowpens, his family did not come to Yokosuka. But I know his wife Joy and his children Eddie, Amelia, and Fenway must be very proud of Tom and look forward to his return to the Washington area. I'm concerned anytime we bid farewell to someone of Tom's stature, an accomplished leader such as he is. But it speaks well for the depth and breadth of our Navy that we always seem to be able to maintain our assigned course and speed, even in this challenging region. And once again, I think we're well served by the choice the Navy's made to relieve Tom. Yet another experienced and proven leader, Captain Mike McCartney. Mike's had a bunch of sustained successes in operational tours to include command of USS Salvor and later USS Chung-Un out here in the 7th Fleet AOR. And in that tour, in fact, Mike received the James Bond Stockdale Award, Leadership Award, the highest recognition we can afford our commanding officers in command of command. I think personally equally important, he was reactor officer of USS Nimitz, a job I held for six years before him, for about as long as he did, almost 3 years. And I can attest to this as always being a challenging and sometimes even rewarding assignment. In any case, Mike, you'll be able to build on the successes of Captain Dicey and take Antietam and 7th Fleet air defense operations to new levels. I'm thrilled at the prospect of having your steady hand and expertise at the helm of Antietam. Welcome aboard. This job will challenge you, and I'm confident you'll find it one of the most rewarding jobs in the Navy. Lucinda, Jack, and Claire and I would all like to welcome you and your wife Casey and your children Stephen, Madison, and Alan to the Forward Deployed Naval Forces when your family arrives next week. I think you're going to have a great 2 years. Finally, Captains Dicey and McCartney and your families, I wish you all prosperity, good fortune, and fair winds and falling seas. Now, Grubby Swoe, Tom, why don't you come on up here to the podium and get you on the tour board.
The guests, please rise. Antietam, attention to order. President of the United States takes pleasure in presenting the Legion of Merit to Captain Thomas C. Dicey, United States Navy, for service as set forth in the following citation. For exceptionally meritorious conduct in the performance of outstanding service as a commanding officer on USS Cowpens and USS Antietam from March 2012 to December 2013. A visionary leader, tactician, and surface warrior, Captain Dicey demonstrated the inherent flexibility and utility in the forward deployed naval forces while supporting vital national security objectives. As Air and Missile Defense Commander for Battle Force 7th Fleet, his leadership and skill proved to be critical to USS George Washington Strike Group's success during numerous operations and high-profile multinational exercises, including Valiant Shield, Keen Sword, Talisman Saber, and Annulex. His innate ability to engage regional, joint, and allied forces significantly improved tactical interoperability through unprecedented levels of air defense and data link coordination between the United States Navy and numerous foreign navies in the 7th Fleet area of responsibility. In addition, Captain Dicey's tenacious leadership and uncompromising demand for mission accomplishment resulted in a successful hull swap between USS Cowpens and USS Antietam. Reflecting his high standard for combat readiness, USS Cowpens achieved a second consecutive Battle E for Commander Carrier Strike Group 5. By his dynamic direction, keen judgment, and loyal devotion to duty, Captain Dicey reflected great credit upon himself and upheld the highest traditions of United States Naval Service. For the President, R.L. Thomas, Vice Admiral, United States Navy, Commander, U.S. 7th Fleet. Will the guests please be seated? Antietam, parade rest. Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Tom Dicey, Commanding Officer, USS Antietam.
Exo, would you please put the crew at ease?
Crew, at ease.
Thank you, Admiral, for those kind remarks. You have been a great leader and friend to Antietam, and to me as an individual throughout your time at CTF 70. The Navy definitely got it right when they chose you as the first surface warfare officer ever to command Carrier Strike Group 5, our nation's most critical and demanding strike group. We are lucky to have you. Lucinda, thank you for joining us here today, and also for the wonderful parties and dinners that you provided for us. I can tell you personally that a dinner at the Montgomery's was always welcome because it meant I didn't have to have McDonald's or Sbarro or something here on base. We are lucky to have you and your family as part of our extended family here on the waterfront and its extension up to Atsugi. Admiral Kraft, thank you for honoring us with your presence and reminding us that we also have a mission ashore every day here in Japan, both in our deliberate community service projects and our conduct while on liberty in our host nation. Continuing the theme of a small town spread out all over the world, I think it was about 10 years ago that you and I were alongside each other when you had command of your LPD. And I was an XO on a cruiser. Captain Fenton, Captain Boyle, and Commodore Lyons. Fentz, Cag, and Paul, thank you for being here. I have never witnessed warfare commanders work together as well as we have. I acknowledge that part of it is our distinct advantage of living and working together here 365, 24/7 here in the FDNF. But I also know that friendship and mutual respect for each other enabled a speed of trust from which all of our sailors benefited. Paul and Conoco, I'd like to publicly thank you for opening your home and your family to me. I've been heartsick for 2 years, well away from my wife and children, and you can't know how much it meant to me to be welcomed into your home and have Tomo and Momo climbing all over me. Even Chaco barking and biting me was fun. Captain Ballou and Captain Glenister, Mike and Dave, thank you so much to each of you for your leadership and support to this waterfront. I know we ask a lot out of your commands, and you've always delivered. We're lucky to have you. And I'd like to think that you represent our larger community here on the waterfront as a whole. Is it still working? Yeah. So thank you to you and all of your fellow tenant commands there, Dave. I'd like Frank, Tomo-san, and Dave to stand up. That's you guys. Yeah. And Marlon, I guess, isn't here, but Marlon, sorry. So you're wearing a tie for crying out loud. No wonder I didn't see you. These are our port engineers and our ship project officer, and they are absolutely members of the Viper's Pit, and take a lot of pride and credit for who we are and what we do. And I'd like to give them a round of applause for all their hard work. To all our other guests, captains, fellow commanding officers, staff officers, community leaders, and friends, thank you for being here and sharing in our celebration. I've so enjoyed being a member of this tight community. It's truly something special here in Yokosuka. Master Chief Hawkins, if you would please stand. There you are. I'd like to publicly acknowledge the role you played with this crew and in my life. No, stay standing, Master Chief. That is so typical. Master Chief Hawkins led this crew through some pretty tough times, and I don't think you've ever been properly acknowledged for doing so. So I'd like to do that right now. Thank you so much for being my first CMC on Cowpins and all the work you did for our crew. There's one more guest that I'd like to recognize specifically. Mr. Jim Farley traveled here all the way from Rhode Island. He and his wife Pat have been the closest of friends to me and my family since 1994. Thank you so much for making the tremendous effort to be here today. Our ombudsman, Mrs. Reese, and our FRG president, Mrs. O'Rourke, are both here today. Ladies, would you please stand? Thank you so much for taking care of our sailors and their families. I do not know, I truly do not know how we find people like you and your predecessors to do the things that you do, but I am so thankful that we do. Please accept these flowers as a token of our sincere appreciation for your service. Okay, I want to speak to my crew now. You are the reason I serve in command, to ensure your well-being and combat readiness. Antietam is nothing but a bunch of metal, glass, and plastic without you. Every day must be spent preparing to employ this metal, glass, and plastic in defense of our great republic. You know my philosophy: trust, respect, and excellence. And you know my priorities: 3M, PQS, and training. We've accomplished so much over the last 2 years. 4 patrols, full certifications, a half dozen major exercises and countless others, gun shoots, just a few, live missile firing exercises, underway for well over 50% of our time, and a repeat award of the Battle Lead. We're eligible this year also, just so you know. Oh yeah, we fit in a hull swap while we were doing all of this. Pretty awesome. I just couldn't be more proud of you. Combat readiness, our reason for being. You all have heard me talk numerous times about enlisted surface warfare specialists and how it makes us better as a ship. It's not just about your own individual pin and getting a couple points towards advancement. It's about us as a ship and our ability to fight. I've talked to you all about the story about Dory Miller. Do you remember him? He's the guy that manned the 50 cal machine gun and shot down planes at Pearl Harbor. He was a cook. He learned how to shoot just by being interested in watching the gunner's mates. And then when it went down, he grabbed a machine gun and shot down planes. You got to think about that, right? I mean, that a sailor was able to do that is just, I can't even picture it. So now in the Navy, we formalized this process a little bit, and you don't just have to be Dory Miller interested and understand what's going on. We formalized this program with ESWIS, and it's about being a force multiplier and making us more combat ready. It's about doing what Dory Miller did. Doing something that isn't your rated training, but has to get done. So, as a way of recognizing the crew and showing our commitment to combat readiness, I'd like to have our 10 most recent sailors who have qualified ESWIS come forward and center with their mentors.
The following individuals front and center to receive your enlisted surface warfare specialist pins: FC2 Adrian, FC2 Batal, FC2 McCall, FC2 Padilla, ET3 Vasquez, GSM3 Muncie, STG3 Savio, GSM3 Brown, MMFN Chaplo, DCSM Cusimano.
First rank, up bow, thanks.
Know by all men these presents that the individuals before you have successfully completed the established personal qualification standards and having demonstrated the requisite professional skills and competence while serving in USS Antietam have all qualified as an enlisted surface warfare specialist, and they are all authorized to wear the enlisted surface warfare specialist breast insignia in witness whereof this certificate has been given and a seal affixed hereunto this 4th day of December 2013. Signed, Command Master Chief Mike Kazabowski, Captain Thomas Dicey, U.S. Navy.
You need some help there, Senior Chief? You know it's cold out here, right?
First right, up out, face. Or second right, left face. Post.
Sailors marching. Who would have thought? Great stuff. I asked them to, when we pulled out of Brisbane, no, that's wrong. When we were leaving Leyte Gulf, and I got everybody together, and I asked for a big push on East-West, and let's get things. And so I think we had about a dozen that we've already pinned on the way home, and then these 10 just finished. So that's a huge effort and a lot more combat readiness for Antietam. Okay, we're going to do one more thing to acknowledge the crew. There's a program, it's called the Command Advancement Program, and it allows the CO to advance a few sailors every year based on his authority or his or her authority. So we're going to announce our caps for calendar year 2013. Based upon the recommendations of the chiefs and with the concurrence of the CMC and the chain of command, we're going to promote 4 sailors who absolutely embrace trust, respect, and excellence. When I call your name, please walk forward, and Master Chief's going to present you with your new rating badge. SHSN Hill. Endless service to his shipmates, and absolutely the guy. Hill's Bodega was somewhere we all went to and could always count on a friendly face. You are now at SH3 Hill. Okay, you can go back to your crew. All right, CS3 Stone. Always with a smile and a can-do attitude. I swear to goodness, I could ask Stone right now to go take the anchor off McCampbell and he'd figure out a way to do it. I swear, Sharif, he'd do it. He'd take your anchor. He is just a, hey. So the first guy's gonna hang on forever, then you're gonna run off. No, you're one of the great guys, Stone, and you make our ship a better place. You are now CS2 Stone. HM3 Zarzek. We don't do anything around the ship without Zarzek being in the middle of it. And she's a corpsman and she's always there and doing that, but she's just always there watching, learning, participating. Stands a great watch on the quarterdeck, does everything well. You are now HM2 Zarzek. Okay, and our final one here, OS2 Wineglass. You are exactly what we are looking for in a Petty Officer First Class. Not only do you better yourself at every opportunity, but you are out front leading sailors. We're counting on you to continue to lead and to do what you're doing. You are now OS1 Wineglass. To our Chief Petty Officers, thank you for your patience. I know, patience. Trust and support in working with me to continuously improve our combat readiness. This has been a tough 2 years, but we have done so well. We couldn't have accomplished the hull swap or the countless operational successes we did without your deck plate leadership. One of the CPO t-shirts I see at the Navy Exchange reads, "Backbone of the Navy." We, the sailors and the officers, want you to lead us each and every day. It's your tremendous responsibility and a privilege that you have. Earn your anchors every day. To the wardroom, we've talked so much about what it means to be a SWO. I have asked so much of you, and you have delivered. You have stood watches, planned events, prepared for inspections and certifications, cared for your sailors, and worked diligently to improve yourselves. It never ends. Keep doing great things. Alicia, Colin, Ben, Bridge, and Randy. I'm not quite sure anyone can realize what you've done unless they've served on a cruiser assigned as whiskey within a carrier strike group. And then in particular, I'm not sure it's even the same unless it's been the whiskey cruiser in this strike group. You have been both ship's company department heads and warfare commander staff officers. It's a tough job, our toughest job. You've done well. I can't wait to see each of you. I can't wait to see each of your future accomplishments. XO, thank you for your service. We deployed immediately after you arrived, and the ship has done well under your leadership. I know you will continue to work hard for this fine crew. CMC. I could not have made it without you. Your council and leadership were without parallel. I've never met anyone like you before. Always in the right place at the right time. Doing what matters when it matters. Thinking ahead, taking care of my crew, taking care of me. I've said it before. If you want to be a CMC, there's no better role model in the world than Mike Kazabowski. Mickey, thank you for being here today. I know you are a big, big part of what makes our CMC who he is. I'm going to finish now by acknowledging those who make me who I am. Since the day I reported to NAPS in 1985, I have had so many great leaders, shipmates, and friends in my life that it would be impossible to list them all. Each and every one of you has been a flame in the fire which has forged my metal. To my parents, Ed and Paula Dicey, thank you so much. I wear my father's SWO pin and try to be worthy of it every day. He taught me attention to detail and doing things that matter is what's important. My mother has been the rock of our family and my personal example of leadership and confidence. Thank you so much, Mom and Dad, for being who you are. To my beautiful children, Eddie, Amelia, and Fenway, who are sitting at home in front of the computer watching this right now. I can't wait to get home to wrestle, play in the snow, celebrate Christmas, and just be your dad. I'll see you tomorrow. It's actually like a day in tomorrow, but we all understand that. Who's done this flight? That's Eddie right now doing the calculation going, well, technically you're not going to be here for a day and a half, not tomorrow. Joy, my beautiful bride and unbelievable mother of my children. I've been missing in action for over 6 years now. I know you supported me out of love and a desire for me to fulfill my professional goals of service to our nation and our Navy. Thank you so much. I doubt I can ever make it up to you, but I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to. Captain McCartney, this is a great ship with a great crew. I feel very fortunate to be turning her over to such a capable and dedicated officer. I will now read my orders. What's that? Oh yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Traditionally, the Command Master Chief presents the commissioning pennant to the departing commanding officer. Captain Dicey will be receiving 2 commissioning pennants today, one from the USS Cowpens and one from the USS Antietam. Both pennants were flown from the main mast of each ship during Captain Dicey's tour as commanding officer. Command Master Chief Mike Kazabowski will now present these 2 commissioning pennants to Captain Dicey. Will the guests please rise for the official change of command? Ship's company, attention.
From Chief of Naval Personnel to Captain Thomas Dicey, subject CNO Order 2483, detach as commanding officer, USS Antietam, CG 54, and report no later than December 2013 to Student Attaché Training, DIA, Arlington, Virginia.
I will now read my orders. From Chief of Naval Personnel to Captain Mike McCartney. Subject: Keeper's Orders 072096. Report not later than December 2013 to Commanding Officer USS Antietam as his relief.
Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Mike McCartney, Commanding Officer, USS Antietam. Will the guests please be seated? Ship's company, parade, rest.
Thanks, so please put the ship's company at ease.
Ship's company, at ease.
Admiral Montgomery, Admiral Kraft, fellow commanding officers, senior officers, family, friends, and most important, the Antietam crew. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to attend today's change of command. I extend a special welcome to those of you watching the webcast. It's our first attempt, and we look forward to sharing many events like this in the future. Admiral Montgomery, thank you on behalf of our crew. Thank you for your kind words. They reflect Tom's dedication and commitment to excellence aboard our crew and our crew's total willingness to follow his lead and become a dominant force in 7th Fleet. Personally, thank you for welcoming me and our family into the 7th Fleet family. It's a pleasure to meet and begin to develop a solid relationship with our warfare commanders on Monday night. Fence, Paul, Mons, Condor, thank you very much for coming today, and I appreciate and I'm ready to roll up my sleeves and dig in. Antietam will work to yes. I can't imagine working with a finer group of shipmates. To our hosts, I visited Japan a number of times. However, it's my first opportunity to live in your country. I look forward to learning and working alongside you as we continue to strengthen our relationship. To my family watching in Seattle, Cleveland, and other states around the country, thank you very much for your love and support all these many years. Mom, you continue to be the strength and central focus of our McCartney family. To my wife, Casey, so it begins again. Each time you offer sage advice, keep me grounded and thinking about what really is important. I love you with all my heart. Stephen, Madison, and Alan, Japan is going to be great. We're looking forward to lots of fun, and it's going to be great fun exploring. To my fellow commanding officers, we're in this together. Sometimes command is easy, and sometimes it's less so, but it's always rewarding. I look forward to stopping by and enjoying friendly conversation and sharing stories. My door is always open. Tom, thank you very much for an incredible effort leading Antietam. You work tirelessly with our crew, and the results are obvious. Antietam is fair in the channel and ready for her next mission. To the Antietam officers and chiefs, leadership challenges never cease. You led a successful patrol, weapons offload, and change of command, and these achievements you should be justly proud of. And now we enter the shipyard. Less flashy for sure, but perhaps even more challenging. It's here where we will restore the material strength to sustain combat operations for the next 2 years. We will make the most of it, and I'm proud to work alongside of you. To our entire Antietam crew, Thank you for putting forth an outstanding effort to prepare and execute this change of command. You are the heart and soul of this mighty warship. To our families, thank you. We understand your sacrifice, and we could not do it without you. Mighty Antietam, 151 years ago and 6,700 miles east of here, two great armies joined on a battlefield just east of Sharpsburg, Maryland. The very fabric of our nation was at stake. If the South had won, we would likely have two countries now and be a completely different impact on world events. Imagine what might have happened in World War I, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. The battle, it just wouldn't have been the same. The battle began at sunrise, and at the end of the day, 23,000 soldiers lay on the ground, and the North held only a few more acres than they did at the beginning of the day. It was a terrible cost. But 2 days later, the Army of Northern Virginia was on the south side of the Potomac River, and President Lincoln had the victory he needed to publish the Emancipation Proclamation. Never again would the rest of the world come so close to recognizing the South as an independent country. The important question is, who saved the Union on 17 September 1862? It wasn't the generals. It was the raw courage and the indomitable spirit of each individual soldier who delivered victory, even when so many of their shipmates were falling around them. Despite the 23,000 casualties, their effort won the day. I will work tirelessly to lead and train with you. Together, out here at the point of the spear, we must follow their lead and dedicate ourselves each and every day to achieve success and represent well all those who marched near Antietam Creek 151 years ago. We will continue to be the beacon of democratic light shining around the world. Think about it. It's an awesome responsibility, and it's in our hands. We are Antietam. Let's let the waterfront know who we are. Be loud for Captain Dicey, for our shipmates, and for ourselves. I'm going to say Vipers on 3. And we want to let the whole waterfront, even Fence's ship over there, know who we are. Are you ready? Vipers on 3. 1, 2, 3. Vipers! Awesome. We are mighty Antietam. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the benediction and departure of the official party. Antietam, attention.
Let us pray. Sustainer and Redeemer God, we ask your continued blessings on the men and women of USS Antietam and their families, the many individuals whose many sacrifices and dedication to our noble mission have shown them to be people of integrity and strength. We thank you for Captain Dicey's servant leadership, courage, self-sacrifice, and determination to do what's right, always, even while making difficult decisions under daunting circumstances. His passion, intrusive leadership, and exhaustive attention to detail in support of our mission empowered us to see excellence, to learn excellence, to emulate excellence, and to be excellent. May your presence, grace, and peace always accompany Captain Dicey and his family as they reflect on their achievements and face new challenges while serving our great nation in Italy and beyond. We now ask that you walk with Captain McCartney, whose authority to command be acknowledged, confirmed, and celebrated on this day. Cause him to be proactive to the responsibilities granted him, to lead with wisdom, compassion, and creativity, and yet remain ever aware of his humanity. Bless his every endeavor, his every decision, and his steadfast resolve to lead this mighty warship. For under his watchful eye, we are always mission ready to fight the ship. And we fight not as a conqueror of nations, but as an advocate for the innocent. We fight not as ruthless aggressors, but as noble protectors. We fight not because they are weak, but because we are strong. We fight not to proliferate war, but to ensure peace. For what we can do, we ought to do, and by your grace, we shall do. Amen.
Side boys, post.
Left, right, west.
Battle Force 7th Fleet, departing. Captain, United States Navy, departing. Antietam, departing. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the ceremony. Captain Dicey and Captain McCartney invite you to attend a reception that will be held in the hangar bay. Thank you for attending. Crew dismissed.
Let us pray. Sustainer and Redeemer God, we ask your continued blessings on the men and women of USS Antietam and their families, the many individuals whose many sacrifices and dedication to our noble mission have shown them to be people of integrity and strength. We thank you for Captain Dicey's servant leadership, courage, self-sacrifice, and determination to do what's right, always, even while making difficult decisions under daunting circumstances. His passion, intrusive leadership, and exhaustive attention to detail in support of our mission empowered us to see excellence, to learn excellence, to emulate excellence, and to be excellent. May your presence, grace, and peace always accompany Captain Dicey and his family as they reflect on their achievements and face new challenges while serving our great nation in Italy and beyond. We now ask that you walk with Captain McCartney, whose authority to command we acknowledged, confirmed, and celebrated on this day. Cause him to be proactive for the responsibilities granted him, to lead with wisdom, compassion, and creativity, and yet remain ever aware of his humanity. Bless his every endeavor, his every decision, and his steadfast resolve to lead this mighty warship. For under his watchful eye, we are always mission ready to fight the ship. And we fight not as a conqueror of nations, but as an advocate for the innocent. We fight not as ruthless aggressors, but as noble protectors. We fight not because they are weak, but because we are strong. We fight not to proliferate war, but to ensure peace. For what we can do, we ought to do, and by your grace, we shall do. Amen.
Side boys, post.
Left, right, west.
Battle Force 7th Fleet, departing. Captain, United States Navy, departing. Antietam, departing. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the ceremony. Captain Dicey and Captain McCartney invite you to attend a reception that will be held in the hangar bay. Thank you for attending. Crew, dismissed.